with Dharni.
Hello everyone.
Yeah, you're audible. Then from Dharni's team, even Abraham and Harsh has to come. Anyone? Dharni, can you check on?
Divya, I guess Faisal is raising his hand.
Yeah, I made him the co-host. Now he can share his screen.
Okay, is my virtual background seen?
Yeah, it's him.
And is it changing?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sharing the screen with.
Who else has to come? I guess everyone has to come.
Yeah, looks good, Faisal.
All the participants are here, right? Quickly rename yourself to this if you can. Only Harsh has to come. We'll start with. Yeah. Okay, fine. We'll start. Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Wait, is it already afternoon or should I tell good evening? We have many options. We have many facts. Is it afternoon yet or good evening? So let me stick to good evening, like what I usually do. Good evening, all fellow Toastmasters and all the guests here. So Sumedha, Saurabh sir, who has come here for the debate competition here, among all the Toastmasters here. Warm welcome to all of you. In every meeting, we need to follow few rules. So here we have three ground rules. It's like the speakers are requested to refrain from making any references to politics, gender, or religion. As it's a virtual meeting, keep all your smartphones on silent mode to avoid any disturbance. Prevent unmuting the microphone other than the speaker to avoid cross-talking. As today we are going to have a debate today, so all cross-talking will be more on a high level. We have seen debates in the news on various topics every day, day and night. It keeps going on, and there's a lot of debates. Today we're trying something new in our Toastmaster Club of having a debate on 3-on-3 for two different topics. Let's see how it's going to bloom out. Today we have one among us, a motivating person who is always ready to help us out. That's none other than Harsh. Over to you, Harsh.
Can you unmute him?
Yeah.
Divya, unmute.
All right. Hello, guys. Thank you, Divya, for the lovely introduction. My name is Harsh, and today I will be serving as the PO for this meeting. I welcome every one of you present here, especially the guests that have come out, Mr. Saurabh sir, Sumedha ma'am, and all of you, everyone else that are present here as guests and as members. I welcome you all to this 19th Precharter meeting of MVJCE. Now, to set the scene for today's meeting, I shall take you to your childhood and enact a scenario from what you must have had with your mother. Right? You'd come home late and your mom will all be like, "Why are you late? You should not be late. Do you know that it's late? It's bad to stay late for outside?" And you will be standing there like, "Sorry, mom, I'll not do this from next time." And they'll be like, "I told you, your dad," and I will tell your dad, "You see what he'll do to you. He'll beat you with the belt." "No, no, no, please don't tell my dad. No, don't tell my dad." And then those things, this little scenario that I've enacted here is what can be termed as a debate. But what we are going to have here today is something much more interesting and on different topics, and something that we as adults can now relate to. Right? Before jumping into our theme for today, since this is the 19th pre-charter meeting, let me first introduce you to the Xcom team of our club. So what is the Xcom team, you ask? Xcom team is a team of people that functions and helps the club in well-being of it. Right? Now this Xcom team consists of 7 members. As I said, 7 members. Seven members. First one is the president, then is the VP education, then is the VP membership, then comes the VP of public relations, then comes the sergeant at arms, then the secretary, and the treasurer. Now for our club, that is the MVJC Toastmasters Club, we have already gotten our Xcom team for the first 10 years that I'll be listing out now. So the president we have is Manvi Grover, the VP Education is Nishant Shastri, the VP of Membership, that is me, Harsh Joshi, then the VP of Public Relations is Lavanya SM, then the Sergeant at Arms is as usual Divya, which is very good at, then is the Secretary, which is our very own Ehsam Ahmed, and finally the Treasurer, our humorous speaker, Jobin Jai. Now to explain you about these roles in the Xcom team, these people functions and works for the well-being of the club. Right? So the president handles all the relations with the outside clubs. The VP education gives you the rules, fixes the rules. The VP membership handles all the details of the members that are present and are to be joined as members in our club. Right? So these are all the roles that the treasurer handles the money as usual. The sergeant at arms functions for the well-being of the meetings that are being conducted. And the secretary helps us get the reports at the end of every meeting. Right, so these are some of the roles that we have in our Xcom team. Now, The Xcom team for the first tenure is handpicked and shortlisted by us, not by me or him. It's shortlisted by a group of people by on the basis of their contribution towards chartering of this club as functioning of this club very smoothly and their contribution from day one, right? So now I know that you people will be all enthusiastic to get into these roles and take up these roles for your next tenure. So not to worry, we have something called as associates for these roles. So if you are willing to take up these roles in the further coming meetings and in the further coming tenures of the club, you can apply for the associate roles, which we are going to soon open for you guys, and you can find the details on the group as well. For every tenure that we have these Xcom teams selected, we are going to have it with the help of elections, as it happens in every other club. Right, so the elections will happen and you can stand for the associate spot so that you can learn about all these roles altogether. And once you learn about these roles, you can then work as the specified role that you worked as an associate for. Right? All right. So this is something that is called the Xcom team and what is it functions and how you can be one in the further coming meetings. Right. So now I'll introduce our today's. Am I audible? All right. So yeah. So now I'm going to be introducing our debate master, our consent chair for today. She is the vice president for Rising Speakers Toastmasters Club. She was also the event chair for MPark 3.0. She was also a part of the MCC Toastmasters Club back in her college days, where she served as a president as well as the vice president of membership. She's someone who likes books and who is obsessed with Peter Kavinsky. I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, and she loves chai. Guys, please welcome Sumedha. The stage is all yours.
Thank you very much, Harsh, for that introduction. A very good evening to one and all present here. And I welcome you all to the debate contest of MVCJ Toastmasters Club. Can we please have a round of applause for everyone who is in the meeting? Thank you so much. Before we begin, I would like to state the structure of the debate today. The first speaker from the four team will come up and state their proposition, which will be for a total of 4 minutes. After the first speaker's time has elapsed, one speaker from the opposition team, which is the against team, can now rebut the proposition put forward by the speaker, which will be for a total of 2 minutes. The speaker from the against team will come up and state their proposition for a total of 4 minutes. After the speaker time has elapsed, one speaker from the for team can now rebut the proposition put forward by a speaker for a total of 2 minutes. After the time of the rebuttal has elapsed, the final speaker from against team rebuts the for team's proposition for a total of 3 minutes. After the time for the rebuttal has elapsed, the final speaker from the for team rebuts the against team proposition for a total of 3 minutes. Audience will be allowed to pose questions to the participants, but only after the final rebuttal and before the closing of that contest by the contest chair, which is me. Now, I would state the rules of the contest. I would request everyone to please pay attention. For the sanctity of the contest, contestants will need to keep their video on for the entire duration of the debate. Entry and exits will not be allowed when the contestant is speaking. I would request all the contestants to adhere to the timings. The speaker will be muted by the contest chair, who is me. After the red card is shown by the timer, anything spoken after the red card is shown will not be considered. No crosstalk will be permitted. Chat and unmute options will be disabled for all the contestants and the audience. No personal attacks towards participants, audience, moderators will be allowed and will be grounds for immediate disqualification. Try not to invoke arguments that rely on caste, sex, religion, unless it is absolutely crucial to the argument being made. Use of props, virtual backgrounds, filters, screen shares, software, external audio, video is not allowed. If any participant faces network issue or gets logged out during his speech or rebuttal, the participant must inform the contest chair, which is me, immediately through WhatsApp. If the participant is unable to join within a minute of logging out, either of the remaining team members or a backup participant can complete the speech or the rebuttal. An appeal for the inaccuracy in facts and violation of rules by any contestant can be made to the chief judge only through the contest chair via WhatsApp. The guidance for an appeal is that contestants of a particular debate contest can only raise an appeal, and for that particular debate only. Members of the audience, role takers, contestants of the other debate contest are not eligible to appeal. The appeal has to be confidential and should be communicated to the contest chair only by one representative from each team. Appeals made by other contestants from the same team will not be considered. A maximum of 3 appeals are allowed per team. The chief judge's decision on the contest and the appeal will be final. There can be no appeal against contest results or an appeal decision. Any violations of the above rules is considered grounds for immediate disqualification. Now, to take forward to the proceedings of the meeting, I would like to call upon our chief judge for the contest today. He is the winner of the great debate contest organized by the District 92. He is a club sponsor and the vice president education of the Gabby's Toastmasters Club and the club coach of Tonsberg Digital Squadron's Toastmasters Club. He has to his credit completing an entire pathway on presentation mastery in 78 days, which is the fastest in the history of TMI District 92. He has He's an international professional speaker who has delivered keynote sessions, chaired conferences, and moderated panels within and outside India in USA, Australia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand. And he has also won several national and state debate contests since 1997. Toastmaster Saurabh, we welcome you to our debate contest today, and I hand over the virtual screen to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedha. So congratulations. I think that Toastmasters is a platform for debating as well, is a realization that is not so common. So okay, sorry about that. That was my daughter. Okay, so this is the disadvantage of doing things from home. Anyways, so Toastmasters as a platform can be used for debating is something that is not very well known. But if you see, there are a lot of Toastmaster clubs across the world. Um, I don't know if you're how many of you are familiar with all the club formats of Toastmasters. So we have the normal Toastmasters club, which are unrestricted. And then we have got restricted Toastmasters clubs, where only certain kind of people can be member. And then we have got advanced Toastmasters clubs. So there are advanced Toastmasters clubs all across the world, which are focused only on debating. And there they teach you how to debate, there you can learn how to debate. And Toastmasters is a very good platform for having a debate competition or a debate contest, because there are set rules, set protocols, and there is a lot of discipline which goes into conducting a contest, which for our contest chair, Toastmaster Sumedha, has already laid out for us. I will not repeat them, but I would just reiterate a couple of points generic about debating. So the difference between debating and arguing is that in a debate, each party puts forward their best point, justifying or opposing a particular motion. And the debate ends there. It does not carry forward with again each other attacking, rebuking, ridiculing, and putting down other people just because you don't have a similar point of view on something. The other difference between debates and arguments is that debates are never personal. Debates are always theme based. So for example, I could be debating, I am a smoker, but I could be debating on a topic that smoking is injurious to health, and I could be speaking for the motion. That's perfectly okay. So just because I am addicted to something, to this vice of smoking, it does not mean that I cannot debate for or against the topic. Similarly, anything in a debate that is said is only in the context of the debate. It is not to be taken outside the debate and into the personal life. The other difference between debate and argument is that debates always have to be based on facts and figures, not based on emotions, not based on who is saying what. So the who part is not important at all in a debate. So it could be anyone, as long as that person is making some valid points, backed by reasoning, backed by logic, backed by facts, then that point is acceptable. So I think that is something that we have to keep in mind. And this is all a learning process, and we will try to make the most of the learning. There are certain criteria. I know Toastmaster Sumedha has already laid down the format, but just for the benefit of the contestants, I would just explain that once more. With your permission, contestant, may I? Okay. So, there are two topics. In each topic, the for speaker would speak for 4 minutes, then will be rebutted by an against speaker of the opponent team for 2 minutes. Then the against speaker will speak for 4 minutes, will be rebutted by a member from the for team for 2 minutes. Finally, an against team member would be doing the final rebuttal for the against team, and the debate will be closed by a final rebuttal by the for team. And the final rebuttal duration will be 3 minutes each. So there would be red, green, yellow, and red card shown, but there would not be any grace period like we have in a normal Toastmasters discussion, which essentially means that at the end of the 4th minute, you will be muted. So whatever you say after that is neither getting heard, nor counted, nor considered. So you can just stop yourself, or the contest chair will tell you, can you please stop? We will move on to the next speaker. So you can save yourself that embarrassment. So once you're muted, you can just stop speaking. So that's pretty much in terms of the contest. All the best to you all, and the appeal process is very clear. I hope any questions on the appeal you can ask me now. Any appeal has to be raised only through the contest chair and through WhatsApp. Any appeal put on the chat or in any public forum is considered to be null and void. And every team has got only a max of 3 appeals, not more than that. As the chief judge, I would be also taking cognizance suo motu of any flouting of rules or norms. But whether I'm taking that into consideration in the judgment is not going to be made public. But you don't need to guess whether I have taken that into suo motu consider cognizance. You can always raise an appeal from your side. So that is absolutely okay. So whether or not I take cognizance of that, that is not your concern. If you feel that it's a matter of concern, you can raise it through the contest chair, but be judicious in the use of your appeals because there are only 3 from each team. So frivolous appeals at the beginning of the debate will only make your chances of getting a valid appeal later on nullified. So that's pretty much from my side. All the best, and hope to have a great contest. Thank you. Any questions you can ask the contest chair or myself now.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Saurabh. Before we dive into our contest, something that we have to keep in mind is the timings of the contest. So I require our timer Faisal to please display the cards and tell the contestants how it's going to go. Faisal, over to you.
Thank you, Sumedha. Fellow Toastmasters friends and guests, I will be your timer for today. I'm Faisal. If you haven't seen me before, hi. So when the timer limit reaches for 2 minutes, I will show you the green card. Is it seen? Okay. So when the timer reaches the 3rd minute, it will be an yellow card. And when the timer reaches the 4th minute, it will be the red card. Is it visible? Right? Okay, fine. And for the rebuttal session, for the timer reaches the 1st minute, it will be the green. And at the 1 hour 30 seconds, I mean 1 minute 30 seconds, it will be the yellow frame behind me. And at the end of the 2 minute, like when the timer reaches the 2nd minute, it will be the red card. Fine. Okay, that's all. Back to you, Toastmaster Sumedha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Faisal. I would like to ask all the contestants once again if they have any questions related to the structure or in the rules. It's now the time to ask to clear your doubts. If no, we can start with our contest. Can I get a heads up, yes or no? I would Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Now it's time to begin our debate contest for the day. For the topic one, the team which is going for the motion is Divya, Krishna, and Lavanya. And the team going against is Akash, Evangeline, and Nishant. The topic one is peer pressure is useful for self development. I repeat once again, peer pressure is useful for self development. And I would like to call upon the first speaker from the four team to come up and state their proposition. And the time starts now.
I think the contestants are muted, so the contestants have to be unmuted.
I unmute. Divya is unmuted. Divya, can you please check? Timer, can you please pause?
Now I can. Yes.
Yeah,
So I
we
think we
can.
should start the time only when the speaker makes the first hand gesture or the movement or any words uttered.
Okay.
So please start the time only when the contestant is making any kind of gestures, movement, or any words are being uttered.
Peer pressure is advantageous in many ways. Most importantly, it creates a sense of motivation in person, which further forces the person to cross the barrier and achieve something great. Furthermore, it boosts the confidence of a person, and then it, there we consider people's opinion and make a priority. We can see this peer pressure not in a we can see this in salesmen and entrepreneurs. They use this technique to influence people to buy their products very wisely. When we are in a social meet, we also get many recommendations. From the recommendations, we start liking it, and then we get try reviewing it and creating a picture of out of it. So then we'll start making decisions, finding out things, and then we try taking a good decision. So at last, it's like you can find something very useful from peer pressure. It also creates like you get to know create a character of yourself. So when you're talking about anything like when you see a friend who is working hard, getting good marks or something, we also get a interest like yeah, even I should start studying, and then we also start working hard and try scoring marks. So it's something useful. The person is not going to lose anything from this, and he is going to gain a lot of things in the future. This maybe those marks will really help him when it's actually needed. It helps us like achieving greater heights in his career, and it's really useful for them. And then we have it helps them to excel like in various fields because of the recommendations he get from many people around him. He will start using the he'll start using the recommendations. Maybe at not even the first situation, the next time when he needs it, he will use all them. So I feel peer pressure is something useful for us for self development. It has all the pros, and it helps a person build himself. He will grow in emotionally. Also, even his knowledge will increase because he gets to know all views of for a problem which he's facing. So I feel like it has more positive effect on a person in a peer pressure. That's all.
Thank you, Divya. Now the first speaker. Now the first speaker from the against team.
In a survey done by Parent Father on peer pressure, it stated only 10% of teenagers had said no when they are faced with peer pressure. That is very, very low percentage. That means 90% have up their peer pressure. Saying no, I believe, is one of the hardest skill that you can achieve because it is the one thing that no one ever wants to do. Is no one ever else assume a teacher, right? Or you never want to be the odd in your group, especially with your friends. Here are some of the example: cheating during a test, skipping classes, fighting, stealing, and many more, etc. Our peers has a biggest influence on us. In fact, most of us spend more time with our friends more than our family members. The people that we hang out the most start picking their habits and the things they do. And it's very easy to have pressure because you never want to refuse or you never want to say no to your friends. You always want to save your friends. However, that can become a problem. Lastly, I would like to say peer pressure is something that can heavily influence our life positively and negatively. Following the majority is always negatively. Thank you.
Just to clarify, this was the first rebuttal, right? By the against team.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I would like to call.
We're going to have the first against proposition. Now we're
Yes.
going to have the against proposition. Okay, thank you.
Yes. The speaker from the against team and state their proposition. Akash.
Are you able to hear me? Bruce Lee once said that I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine. According to NCBI, adolescence period is often believed to be a difficult and critical period of transition because of the qualitative shifts at this stage of the life. In this aspect, to peer pressure can invade our minds. It can prevent us from seeing things or making decisions the way we normally do. It can stop us from thinking critically or acting for solutions to the problem. Peer pressure can always cause the loss of freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and which is the fundamental right of an individual. Many a times it so happens that the students are forced to lead a certain kind of lifestyle due to peer pressure. There are many teenagers who have experienced great pressure from their peer group and oftenly highly influential in convincing one another to try alcohol, tobacco, or any other kinds of drugs for the first time. Example, we can see in Bachman and Johnston, substance use during adolescence, or even substance use and abuse according to psychology of addictive behaviors. In such cases, being overly pressurized by your peers can determine to living. Some teenagers literally spoil their lives giving their way in peer pressure. Let me get you all into the negative effects of peer pressure. The decision making. When you are adapted to a peer pressure, we stop thinking what is right, what is wrong, and what is best for us, and where do we stand, and being focusing on what is most accepted by the society. We try to adapt to them, whereas we are not living our own lifestyle. And this can make us feel very anxious and uncomfortable. When taking career as an example, we all might have seen this. If a student takes up science in the class or a college, the other students are also forced to take up the science subjects. Even all of them have their own abilities and the choices, like example, medicine or engineering and so on. The student shouldn't be pressurized with this. Let's take an example and see. If any classmate is good at sports and is popular because of it, then the other parents of the students start them pressurizing them to take up sports, even though they're not good at sports and they're good at something else like music or something. They are firm with the decision because they are the peer decision. This usually makes mind weaker and also leading to a lower potential and greater harm to the personality. And even people adapt bad habits due to peer pressure. Peer pressure can be used to make someone do something bad or something they aren't comfortable with. Trying like a cigarette in the first place, or greater influence for drinking, and sometimes even robbery and murder. There is a loss of self confidence due to peer pressure. A person loses his own abilities, thinking that he is just bound to do something which others are making him to do, and communication gaps between the parents and children starts increasing. A child is, when undergoing negative peer pressure, would feel more comfortable opening up with their friends instead of their parents. And according to the Australian parenting website, children are more likely to be negatively influenced by peers, making children have poor self-esteem. In conclusion, we can never assume peer pressure is beneficial. It depends entirely on how it is used, and more often and not, and it is make.
Akash, your time is up. Now, I would like to call the next speaker from the 4 team to rebut the proposition. Krishna. Krishna, please unmute. I'm giving you an option to unmute. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, starting off, you said 10%, right? So what do you mean by 10%? So are you saying only 10% of children learn to say no, and rest, I mean, 10% of people couldn't say a no, and rest of the 90 people could say no? Or are you saying that 10% could, the other way around? If you're telling only 90% of children couldn't say no and only 10% could, kudos to those 10 people, because isn't learning to say no a challenge in itself? If you're saying peer pressure is going to want them to make them please their friends, so isn't that saying, aren't you telling me that they've been given a challenge and they choose not to say no to their friends and choosing the path to please them? When we talk about a choice is a form of self-development. You're telling me they're going to choose hide down, duck down, and not just go along with everyone else. You have to also be willing to take the chances that they are going to say no. And you said that Bruce Lee said, you said a quote about Bruce Lee. And again, coming back, isn't the challenge in itself to break the endless cycle of pleasing others? So, and you talked about freedom of speech. Let me remind you, freedom of speech came at cost, and freedom of it came to us after the independence. Freedom fighters also had to fight back from people to get people and their pressure to get back our freedom. That's what gave us freedom and the freedom for speech. So you also talked about teenagers. What about the others? One thing is, what about the rest of the world and not just teenagers? And coming back to teenagers, you told me that it has, I would like to point out that peer for a kid, for children, peers are those people who they admire or they consider to play an important role in their life. So if you come to me and say that someone who's played an important role in your life has always expected something from you and has all.
Thank you very much, Krishna. Your time is up. Now, I would call upon the final speaker from the Agates team, Nishant, who will rebut the 4 team proposition.
Am I audible?
Your voice is echoing. I'm not sure if it's just for me or for
Yeah, is it fine? Sumedha, is it fine? Peer pressure is our greatest ghost. We feel it, we fear it, we can sense it, and we bow down to it. I heard that Peer pressure encourages product markets, but don't you think it encourages buying of unnecessary goods? You are in need of a Swift car, but just because your neighbor bought a Kia Seltos, you're going to go and buy it. Isn't that true? That is peer pressure. You said it will help you create a character, but when you are influenced by peer pressure, it is not your character, but your friend's character. You don't have a self-identity then. You said recommendations, but then the choice is not ours. It's your peers. Their choice is your choice. You don't become yourself. It is your friends that you are becoming. You are trying to fit in and impart or cultivate their choices, their trends, their styles. That is not your recommendation. That is not yourself. Saying no is a challenge, but do you think we can actually say no? It's after all our friends and they are doing something. You can only say no if you have a strong willpower, and that doesn't come to everyone. That is the reason only 10% succeed in saying no, and the rest 90% are susceptible to peer pressure. So let me give you an example on US Department of Health and Human Services found that among 74.3% of teenagers who started drinking due to peer pressure still continue. That is just one. So if you consider another example, because from the survey of Carrot, which is a driving behavior survey, they found that majority of drivers who are.
Thank you, Nishant. Your time is up. Now I would like to call upon the final speaker from the 4 team to rebut the proposition. Lavanya, over to you.
We can all agree that we've been taught extensively about the negative effects of peer pressure, but the positive effects have always been swept under the carpet. Learning to say no is a skill that any individual needs to learn throughout their lives, and there is no better place to learn and experiment with how we react to it than with our peers. This is where we meet all kinds of people, and the risk of this leaving a permanent scar on our personality is pretty low. Being exposed to evils such as drug abuse or being pressurized to live a certain way is nothing but a turn. Can I continue?
Please continue.
Okay. Being exposed to evils such as drug abuse and being pressurized to live a certain way is nothing but a turning point in an individual's life. If they decide to stick to their guns, they are showing great promise to grow up to be responsible adults. And if they don't, then they are only bound to learn this lesson on their own very soon. This is nothing but coming to terms with your self-identity. Strength, self-confidence to stand firm and walk away and resist doing something when you know better comes from within and sets the tone for the kind of person this individual can grow up to be. When you run a marathon, you're running to win. It is very important and normal to keep tabs on the time taken by our peers, and we've seen plenty of examples of healthy relationships among competitors. Learning to cope with jealousy and instead learning to be more goal oriented can definitely help develop an individual like no other influence can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lavanya. Now it's the time for the audience to ask questions. Please note the teams for the other debate are the audience and they still can ask questions. The floor is open for questions. I would request the audience to ask questions to the contestants.
as my friend Nishant have mentioned here that 10% of people manage to say no and the 90% of people fail to say no. But isn't it the peers at an early age that help us say no, help teach us how to say no? Aren't those the peers that help us say no, right? They need to teach us. But if that happens, if we do not teach them, if the peers are not there, then there's no sense of guilt or there's no sense of pressure in the minds of the people. So uh, is it fine now? Right. So as I was saying that if there's no peers helping us doing that, and if they do not pressurize us, if we say that it's pressurizing us, but what they're actually doing is they are helping us grow. That if you term that as pressure, isn't that pressure important? Don't you think that pressure is important? So yeah, I think so. I've made my point. If anyone wants to.
Yeah, I want to clarify. Yeah, I want to clarify by saying that yes, it is that 10% of like those friends who are your peers that are going to teach you to say no. But what if it turns out that they are the ones who are ruining it for you? What if your friend circle is not right for you?
Nishant, were you done or your internet got off? Do we have any other question from the audience? Is there anyone else who would like to ask? Put forward any question? Okay, then I will take this silence as that we do not have any questions. Abraham, you okay? I'm so sorry, Abraham. Yes, Abraham, you can post.
Yeah, so I have a question for people who are supporting peer pressure. Like knowing that many of the people today are getting to addictions, alcohol, cigarettes, porn, and all of these things, it's always a peer pressure that actually leads to it. And you know, the society has developed such a weak generation of human minds. How is it that you can expect people to not stay sane after so much of this peer pressure? Like when 90% of them around you are not doing right and you're forced to go right, it's so difficult for these kids to do what they're supposed to do. So how do people, how do you expect peer pressure to help a person like that? Like unless you have you know, a strong mind frame, which you don't have, given that we have such a fast world, everything wants to be done fast, no patience, no sense of resistance. You're just so vulnerable to everything that's tasty, everything that looks good. So I don't know how peer pressure can actually help a weak person strong in any way. If it ever has to help anybody, I think it has to, you know, it has to start at the roots, like from childhood. So how do the people supporting peer pressure have to answer this?
Okay, so you talked about adults. So coming to the case of adults, unlike when you're in your younger ages, as an adult, you're more mature. You've seen enough of, you've come across enough of yes and no decisions, situations where you had to make choice whether to do it, whether to go for a bad thing or stay good in your childhood itself. Let's forget the magnitude, but as you go on from a very young age, let's assume you never gone through any peer pressure at your young age. What would happen then? You come to an adult stage, then you're suddenly faced with decisions like, oh, should I go out and drink? All my friends are drinking, I should drink. So that's where peer pressure becomes valuable from the beginning itself. Would you rather learn to say no to a friend buying your friends food as a teen, or and then go on knowing that you can say no to people, learn that as an ability for yourself? Or would you be put in a situation where you're 23 and your friends call you out for drinks and you're like, oh, should I go or should I not go? It all comes down to the fact that it is necessary to build a person's character from the beginning, because as you're young, you don't have that many consequences. Most of the situations that you have to face for peer pressure are mostly involved with lesser let's call it less risk. You're not going to lose much from it. Once you do that, even maybe you lose, sometimes you get the bad out of it, you get the good out of it, you learn and you build your personality in such a way that you can fend off peer pressure in a way. So yeah.
Thank you, Krishna. Lavanya, do you?
If I had to add on to that, can you imagine the kind of self-respect and realization of one's actuality that this individual is going to get when they've been exposed to social evils like drug abuse and such from their own peers? Because this is anyway going to exist. This is something that you cannot dodge and duck and escape. You are going to face this anyway. When you face it from your peers, whatever be the decision you take, you are going to get a taste of what your decisions in life can give you. And that can only make an individual stronger and not weaker. Even if the individual is weak and makes the wrong decision, they're going to face the troubles, or they're going to face the consequences of their actions very soon. And that can only teach them good.
Thank you, Lavanya. Do we have anyone else who would like to pose a question? I would take the silence as a no. And with this, we conclude the first topic of the debate. I hope all of you had a good time. And now we will take a short 5 minutes break, and then we'll come back and resume with our debate contest for the topic 2. Thank you very much and see you all in 5 minutes. I would request everyone to please come back by 6:25. Thank you. Is everybody leaving?
I just switched on my video, but I'm here. Doing my scores now.
We have Divya, Lavanya, and Krishna. I can see their videos on. I would like to know, how was your experience with the debate today? How did it go for you? And what was your experience?
I didn't have enough time because I was too busy noting down whatever they said. I made a huge list, and before I could go through half the list, I realized I was out of time. So I need to work on my time and focus on what's important.
Well,
Like,
indeed, time is
the
important.
first half was me telling their points, and the second half was me giving an answer to it. But I just said their points, and the time got over. So it's okay though. Lavanya saved us.
So this was my first time attending a debate that was structured like this. I've never been in a debate like this, not watched before, forget participating. So I was really excited to see how it would go, how it works. And yeah, it was really exciting. I need to learn time management just like Krishna, but for the exact opposite reason, because I thought I'd take enough time and I didn't. And when I paused and then I saw the timer and it just turned green, I'm like, good, nice save, just on time.
Yes, Divya, you have.
Yeah. First time I'm participating in a debate, and anytime it was a debate, I stay out of it. But today I took a go. Yeah, it was good experience. Like to participate more in future.
Yes, well, I would like to say that all of you did a great job. Since I'm saying that all of you, two of them mentioned that it was their first time. So, as a first timer, I think you all did a fantastic job. I know debate is not an easy thing to do. Yes, so that was amazing. I would also like to ask our guest, Aprajita, how did she like it? How was her experience? Are you here, Aprajita?
Hello, everyone. A very good evening to all the Toastmasters and the debaters over here. I couldn't participate in the debate because I was busy with a lot of things. So I was very interested in watching will be going on today. So I think the first debate was pretty well. Uh, it gave a lot of knowledge and information about peer pressure, and also it made me think more about this topic. And while the debate was going on, I was still analyzing what everyone was speaking. I was just going through, yeah, and it was really good. It was really good for the first time that we had debate in MVJC Toastmasters. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, Prajita. I totally agree with you. And it's not always about being a contestant. I think we get to learn a lot as an audience. Like, to be honest, even I learned a lot from all the facts stated by all the contestants. There was a lot of information that I did not know. And to be honest, I have noted a few that after the meeting, I'll go and research about it. Is there somebody else who would like to tell their experience? Nishant, would you like to tell your experience?
So yeah, this was my first debate, and I didn't expect it to be, this size. So yeah, it was a good experience. I'm sure to take up a debate again.
Contest chair, can we start the second contest? 6:25.
I'm sorry. There has been a slight issue. Can we have a 2 minutes break? And there's something I would like to discuss with the Zoom moderator and Chief Judge.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you want us to get into a breakout room?
Yeah, I think that would be better if the moderator
I'm
can create us
creating
a
a.
breakout.
I think I can create. I've got the rights. Uh, the. So you want the contest chair and the Zoom moderator.
Moderator and the Chief Judge.
What's his
And the
what's
timer as well. Faisal.
Faisal, and what is the contest? What's the Zoom moderator's name?
Manvi.
I don't see Manvi here.
There must be her name is Zoom moderator dash Manvi. So if you.
No, I'm not getting that.
I will create one second. Even I can't see her. I don't know why. Can we just do it for the three of us? I will update her on WhatsApp maybe.
Sure.
Manvi, are you here?
Yes, Sumedha, I'm here.
Manvi, what's your name here?
I've put it as Manvi. Can you see it now?
Uh,
Sort of, I'm the host. My name should be on the top.
yeah, but I'm not seeing Aparajita Nandi Dharani Harsh Lavanya. No, Manvi, your name is not coming. If you're the host, can you join the breakout room? You can see the breakout room, right?
Yes.
Join the breakout room. I'm joining the breakout room as well.
Hello. Hi everybody. There has been an update for the final I hope all of them are here, all the teams for both the contests. Yeah, thank you. There has been a slight update for the final rebuttal. The timer has shown 2 minutes. It was mentioned in the rules to be 3 minutes, but the timer has shown 2 minutes. But he has shown it for both the contestants. So there has been a fair play. There's nothing about that. But we would like to update the contest protocols for the next debate. That for the final rebuttal, the timing is not 3 minutes, but 2 minutes. I would like to repeat it again. For the final rebuttal, the timing is 2 minutes. Contestants, please take a note of it. And do we have all the contestants from team 3 and team 4 present? Zoom moderator, can you please check if we have?
Yes, I'm checking.
All contestants of the contest one, you understood the issue, right? That the final debutal was supposed to be 3 minutes. We ended the time on 2 minutes, but both the contestants got 2 minutes. So it's not that anyone got more time or less time. So it was a fair play, but just that the contest protocols were different. So any objections to that? Any appeal? Okay, we are good to go.
Thank you, Saurabh. And now we would like to start the second debate of for the day. The topic for the second debate is violent games should be banned. The team which is going for the motion is Amritpreet, Abraham, and Harsh, and team going against is Dharani. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Uh, Thank you. And Rakshanda, we would like to begin our second debate for the day. The first speaker from the four team, I would like to call you on stage and state your proposition. Amritpreet, Amritpreet, are you here? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So the violent games should be banned as they change the personality by making themselves aggressive, stubborn, addictive, harmful, negative behavior. So the violent games can come under sports. In sports, there is soccer, boxing. As you see in soccer matches, half of the time, whenever the game is playing, you can see medic team running inside the field. So that's what. As you can see, it's such violent that everybody getting upon each other, falling, ligament tear. Uh, so such that as it. And then there comes video games, which are Doom, which was in 1994. And then there is this Jackson Thomas game, which was in 1997, and which everybody knows, that is Grand Theft GTA, which was in 2020s. That time it was considered as a violent game because people were getting influenced, and especially children were getting influenced by these games by wearing the shirt which had logo on them. And as I can say that accessible of guns and all are very easy in America than compared to India. But as it is very accessible over there, people used to get it, and so it used to make their behavior very aggressive. As you can see, today's kids are exposed early on in their life to internet, world of internet and games. As parents are still supposed to, parents are still fault, they are still in fault in it. But if not parents, they're still exposed by the peer groups or friends or cousins or family. So that's what. Even the Hastings study demonstrates that large amounts of gameplay, as well playing as violent games, are related to negative behavior and academic performance, supporting my claim that gameplay should be regulated by parents in this case so that it does not affect social peak performance, which is the studies. The growth of the student or child doesn't go down. And next comes the evidence strongly suggests that exposure of violent games is casually a risk factor as their increased behavior, aggressive cognition, and aggressive effect for decreased empathy and pro-social behavior, which is getting out of not people being an introvert, not getting out, not interacting, not connecting with the nature or with the earth or with the people living there, as you can see. And the next come is, as you can see, now huge companies are hiring gamers. And as they are hiring gamers by streaming, by taking down the streaming ID and seeing the viewers of them. But I would say not all the gamers. Why I suggested this, because as I spoke about video games which are violent, as they are hiring gamers because there is a strategy called game solving, and gamers such as, if they solve the games such as Minecraft, Portal, these are puzzle solving, so which helps in the company like coding and Google, which totally considers this. And the last point I would just make everyone that PUBG is not the game which companies are looking for, and if people are playing that, I don't think you're going to get hired if you pitch in this point. And yeah, that would be my counter. Thank you.
Thank you, Amritpreet. Now I would like to call upon the first speaker from the against team, who can now rebut the proposition put forward by the speaker, Aitsam.
Okay. Am I audible now? Yeah. So my friend here proposed that the video game should be banned. I don't think they should be. And there's a simple reason for that, because violent games, if you're talking about games like gladiator fights, they should be banned, and they are banned because they involved killing. But sports like rugby, they promote physical fitness. They make a person physically fit so that he or she is capable of defending herself. Coming to my friend here mentioned a fact that people in America used to wear GTA themed t-shirts. I don't think wearing something is harmful, and I don't see how fashion can be violent in nature. And more apart from that, she said that they were exposed children nowadays are exposed to different kinds of violent video games. That's like saying that they're exposed to William Shakespeare's tragedy of Julius Caesar, and hence that should be banned because that promotes superstition, because it really doesn't. And if video games really did affected us, then the 90s generation would be roaming around in the room, making listening to electronic voices imitating Pac-Man. So I don't think video games really does affect us. Apart from that, there's a stat that I want to mention. Federal crime statistics suggest that serious violent crimes among youth have gradually decreased from 1996, even though the graphic quality of the video games have increased ever since. So that those are the points that I would like to present and show that the video games shouldn't be banned. And one more key point that is there is, Among Us is a recent game that we all played. I think most of us have played that. It has an underlying sense of distrust, but it has bring together friends ever closer than before. So video games depends on the individual who is playing. So instead of banning them, it's better if we are regulating them, and that way it can target a suitable audience.
Thank you very much, Atsam. Your time is up. Now, I would like to call upon the speaker from the against team for the proposition, Dharani. Dharani, are you here?
Sumedha, I guess she got disconnected.
Right.
According to the rules, we'll wait for 1 minute for her to join back.
Timer, can you please show red card at the end of 10 minutes? 1 minute, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Dharan is back on the show.
Yes, but I think her network is still little fluctuating.
Dharani, can you hear us?
Zoom moderator, can you please unmute her because I am unable to do it from my end.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Dharani, are you there? Okay, she got disconnected.
She got dropped off again.
Yeah.
Should we go forward with other team members starting the proposition, Chief Judge?
Anyone in the against team can do the proposition instead of Dharani? Are you ready? You can? Okay, good. Contest chair, I think Rakshanta is doing the proposition.
Today, for the purpose of debating about violent games, I sat down with my brother to see what it was all about. And to my surprise, my brother, after playing an intense match of shooting, he smiled and carried out his everyday tasks. So, aggression that everybody was so stressing about. But while research matters, this line of argument misses an important point. Though some games are casually and thoughtlessly violent, many other explore violence with a nuance, placing it in a social context and giving players a hands-on opportunity to explore moral conundrums that they would generally never face in real life. Similar to many other art forms, gaming is a storytelling medium that reflects upon and critiques the society in which we live. Its uniqueness lies in the deeply immersive experience that it offers relative to the other media by giving players the ability to impact the world around them directly. Studies have found that most young respondents describe that games as fun, exciting, something to counter boredom with, and something to do with friends. For many youths, violent content is not the main draw, especially for boys particularly, more motivated to play video games in order to compete and win. Seen in this context, use of violent games may be similar to the type of roughhousing play that boys engage in as a part of normal development. Video games offer one or more outlet in for the competition for status or to establish a pecking order. While some games use these moral dilemmas mostly to frame their plots, others are rooted in the sophisticated systems of morality that guide their gameplay. These games put players throughout a series of difficult decisions, demand that they interrogate the circumstances and justifications that frame the violence they choose to commit. The most interesting morality systems steer away from the simplistic dichotomy of good and evil, ensure that players feel the consequences of their choices. Coming to the points that were made by the opposing team, violence is something that is to be never indulged just because it's something of an influence or something that we are exposed to. It's a choice, it's a relative to what you're surrounded with, but it is not something that would deliberately be added into your life just because you are exposed to it. So my take on why the negativity around violent games is that they say that the people who are going and playing these games are exposing anger and aggression. I haven't seen a gamer in my life who's actually raised their voice above 2 decibels yet, because they're so immersed in playing and figuring out the very strategic thinking that would require them to reach that particular level. I have never seen them go and tell somebody, oh, I am going to kill somebody today in the way I killed somebody in PUBG. Or I'm going to go start and run around my layout trying to find the next revolver to go and hide underneath a gunny bag and try to shoot them. I've never seen or reflected about that. And violent games such as rugby or soccer or any other field hockey or ice skating, ice hockey has never been linked to prior killing or showing inflicting pain on others other from the field that they're already in. So my proposition today is that banning violent games is not necessary. It's not even something that people should worry about that much. So that's what I would like to conclude with.
Thank you very much, Rakshanda. Now I would like to call upon the next speaker from the 4 team, Ibrahim. Over to you.
Yeah, so I completely heard the arguments for their case, but I think it's just complete. It's just an illusion, because I think I've seen this illusion even in social media. When it first came in, everybody thought was fine, was good, and all of that, but actually runs on biological response that are very dangerous to the human mental stability. So just to get to that, when you play video games, you do not see effects in short time frames, in short time periods. This is something that happens over a long time period. Like, there's just one generation back we've been having violent video games, and I think it's too fast to judge, and it's exactly why many scientific researchers are not able to come to a conclusion. Many of them say, like the university at Laura and the university at Toledo actually say that this really leads to desensitization. That is, you reduce your empathy and stuff like that. But then I want to say that over time, real cases, like real cases where people say that they have dopamine exhaustion, they have negative emotion suppression. Dopamine exhaustion is where you release so much dopamine in your body while playing the game that eventually other things feel less enjoyable. Negative emotion suppression is where the amygdala of your brain shuts down when you play the game, which means you can't feel negative emotions. And then it eventually leads to a state called alexithymia, where you cannot even determine your inner conscience. Like, you can't even know when you're upset or when you're happy. So I think you're opening your kids to very dangerous platforms that can lead to depression, that can lead to social anxiety and social separation. And when you have so many things to do outside your small cubicle, why would you play games at home? Like you can have the same fun playing a game of football, or you can have the same fun playing a game of cricket, or you can go for martial arts. You can do so many other things. Like, why would you have to play wild video games? So if you actually look at the balance between the effect and the benefit.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Your time is up. Now I would like to call upon next speaker from team 4, Dharani.
Dharani, can you turn on your video? I'm unable to spotlight you. Dharani, are you there?
I am not sure if she's here.
We can give her 1 minute to connect.
Timer, please start the 1 minute.
Can someone contact Dharani and just check what's her status?
Yes, I'm doing it.
Yeah, she's facing bad network issues.
Yeah, Dharani is here. Dharani, quickly start on. You can keep your video off if that makes your network better. Dharani, just keep your video off and just speak. It's okay. You can allow that.
I think the network that side is bad.
Yeah, I
Mandy,
just called her and
can you call her and tell her just to keep her video off and just speak?
yes, Chief. She's
You have
done
over
1
one.
minute up and Dharani hasn't
Dharani is
connected
not
yet.
able to connect.
No, she's not able
Sorry, then we'll have to drop her and we'll have to move to the final debuter of the fourth speaker by the fourth speaker.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So can we have the final speaker from the 4 team, Harsh? Dharani just texted saying that she's rejoining. So shall we give her a minute or?
Is the opponent team okay? All contestants okay? The opponent team, the 4 team. She's in the against team, right? So is the 4 team okay? Can I get a confirmation from all the 4 team players? Amrit, Preet, Abraham, and Harsh.
Yes, that's okay. We can wait for another minute. That's not a problem.
Abraham, are you okay? Can we give 1 more minute? Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Um, uh, uh, Chief Judge, can we do this? Can we all turn off our videos so that her bandwidth gets a little more stable, if that can be permitted?
Yes, yes.
So I would request everyone to please turn off their videos so that the Rani's network becomes more stable. Thank you all.
Dharani,
Timer, can you please turn on your video at least?
yeah. Dharani, you can start, Dharani.
Hope you all can listen me. I'm so sorry for my network issues. Although others tend to view video games as isolated and antisocial, other studies found that most young respondents described the games as fun, exciting, something to counter, and something to do with friends. For many, for many youth, violent content is not the main drawback. Boys is particularly are motivated to play video games in order to complete and win. Seen in this context, use of violent video games may be similar to the type of rough housing play that boys enjoy in as part of normal development. Video games offer one more outlet for the competition, for status, or to establish a peaking order. And one of the Japan country is a video game. Japan country is very like it is cultured for the video game. Yet violence is in Japan is least. So it is not. It is just like uh, we cannot addict to that, so that we can enjoy. We can take that entertainment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dharani. Now I would like to call.
Can all contestants please come back on camera?
Thank you. Now I would like to call upon the final speaker.
Venezuela, Brazil, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Singapore, Germany, UK, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Do you think there is anything common between these people, these countries, that makes them together? There's one thing that you think of that is common between these two is this, you cannot think of any one thing, right? That one thing is banning of video games, violent video games. All of these countries have banned video games, and the reason that they are stated is because it's violent for children and that they provoke the youth to do things that are not necessarily, they're not necessary for them to do. Coming to the entertainment software rating board, that is the ESRB, more than half of the games that are listed there that contains violence, right? And more than 90% of them are rated safe for children 10 and above. Do you think giving violent video games such as Call of Duty or PUBG to these children that are 10 years and smaller? Also, people from the against team mentioned that rugby and Pac-Man and all of these things in their speeches, but rugby is not a video game, my friend. Rugby is not a video game. You cannot have that here. You cannot connect rugby to video games. Video games are completely different. You're shooting people, and that, according to the studies that are conducted by a team at Howard Health, that shows that playing GTA or even playing Sims or even playing Controls have gained the people. They've conducted this test over a couple of years, and these people have done that. There's an increase in physical aggression, verbal aggression, anger, hostility, feeling mean, word completion text, lexial decision tasks, and these are just a few of the many that I've listed here. These have long-term effects on children. Video games also incur that sense of ego in people just
Thank you very much, Harsh. Your time is up. Now the floor is open for the audience to pose questions. Please do raise your hand if you have any question and the moderator will unmute you.
Yeah, I'd like to pose a question. Don't you think video game is a environment to vent out someone's frustration or aggression or tiredness? Some a world where you can freshen up throughout your the daily life, your office or college. You come to a virtual space where you can vent out your aggression or your frustration.
Can you please specify, Nishant, your question is for which team? And it would also be good if you mention anyone in particular in the team that you want to answer this question.
No, none specific. Anybody is free to speak.
Right, so the question posted here is that video games is a way to list out your get out your frustration. But there's an example that I want to put forth here is a 19-year-old kid who was putting out his frustration and in Andhra Pradesh lost his life because he used to skip meals. I'm so sorry. He used to skip meals just to play video games, and the game is none other than PUBG. Why he used to do that, and if skipping meals is something that venting out frustration can you can skip eating meals just to vent out your frustration, is that something that you're willing to do? Is that risk, are you willing to take that risk? And eventually that person, that child eventually fell on the roads of death. So I don't think that venting out frustration on video games is a good idea in the long run, because we do not have a controlled environment as such for video games anywhere in the world, I think so, for this matter.
Thank you, Nishant and Harsh. Dharani, you have a question. Aitam, I've noticed you have also raised your hands. We'll take your question after Dharani's question.
Neither Harini and Aitasam are participants of this debate, so they cannot ask questions. It's only open to the audience and the contestants of the first debate.
Is there anything you have to add on? Um,
So my question is to the team who's against violent video games. So taking other platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and everything else, what are the number of people who've successfully made a career out of video games and these specific violent video games? CSGO, Valorant, PUBG, whatever it is, they've made careers out of it. They've earned cash. They've helped out their parents in ways. And isn't that a way to that made also made them responsible? Didn't they learn new things like how to handle if they do something wrong, how to handle it in public? And didn't they learn experiences like public speaking or handle speaking in public, or how to go on.
I guess the question was for the team against the motion, right? So Harsh, you're for the motion. So can someone from the motion take the question?
Yeah, as Krishna said that, yeah, we can build a teamwork. If we have a multiplayer video game, we can make up with a teamwork how we need to work and how we need to save others. Like in PUBG only, we need to save others, we need to revive others. So we need teamwork. If you won't help others, your team total all will be lost. If you have a teamwork, you can win it. So you can put up in your life also. So how we need to behave with our friends or with any family members. So you can develop something, right? Video games will help you also, and also the frustration. Like when you are frustrated, you can go and attack to the other teammate. You can Like you can also try the boxing, kicking other one. You can control your frustration also. So this is my.
Do we have any other questions, Chair?
Abraham is raising hand. If you have a question, you're not
But
allowed
Abraham
to.
is the contestant here. He cannot
If you
raise.
have to add on to
I think
something.
Ravi Teja, I think he has a question. Ravi, you have a question?
Yeah, nowadays countries like Russia made esports as a subject to learn in the curriculum activity, and they have made it official. And so many countries are following Russia and making esports as curriculum subject. And I think games are in the as told by our senior Harsha. Uh, Harsh, like in the AP 29, like child got addicted to PUBG, and it's based on the game what you means the decision what you make. It's like it helps in frustration control and everything, but there is a limit. That's all. Thank you.
Anyone from the 40 wants to respond to that, please?
So you mentioned that Russia is amongst the very first countries to as not the word legalize, but to introduce esports as a curriculum in schools. But it is not very sure as far as my knowledge is concerned, that what all are the sports, what all are the esports that are being introduced as a curriculum. There are a number of esports. Even FIFA is a esport, but it is not a violent sport, right? So we are not sure about what all are the sports what are the esports that have been introduced by Russia. And on top of that, to mention about the YouTube and all the other things that have been going on here, there is an age gap, right? There is an age restriction for the things that are mentioned. Like 90% of the people, those who stream on YouTube, do have an age restriction to follow. And also that you're talking about introducing esports in schools in Russia. Even America have started to do it, but we are not very sure on what are the esports that they are going to introduce. So it can be even amongst us, or FIFA or PUBG. We are not sure, right? So we do not know what all are the games that they're going to introduce. So I think so that might answer your question.
Thank you, Harsh. Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question? Anyone from the audience who would like to pose a question to our contestants?
Hello. Hi. I'm not gonna on my video if that's okay. So I just wanted to pose. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Okay. So to a point that Harsh said that a guy in Andhra got died because of how is that the video game, how can you relate it to that? I mean, it could have been anything, right? He could be watching a show. That happened because of a video game, yes, but that can also happen because of something else. He could be watching a show and skipping meals. Not the same guy, any other person. How is that? Like, why would you ban video games for that? He could be, the same thing could have happened when he was doing anything else. He could be watching a show, he could be online, he could be using social media and skipping meals. So how is skipping meals, like, why would you? I'm sure, I hope I'm making my point. Did you get that?
Right. So the base of your question is that he could be doing something else, and he could be skipping meals, and he would go down the roads of death. But the report that have come out, and the report clearly, the headline of the report stated that the person who died because of skipping meals was playing video games until very late hours and for continuous hours. That is the main reason that was stated in the report that was being posted on news. And I am sure that you must have gone through the news before, right, listening to this and everything. It's also available in Google if you want to go through it. But the main reason that was being stated in the report is that the child that died due to skipping meals and not focusing on other things was playing video games for consecutive hours for a very long time. So, and that game was PUBG basically. So yeah, that was the main reason that was posted. So I think so that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Harsh. Do we have any other question? Please take a note. Sorry. Is there anyone else who would like to ask question to our contestants? I would take the silence as a no. And I would ask one or two contestants of the last debate contest to tell us how was their experience of contesting in the debate contest and how did it go for them. Can anybody unmute? Like, raise your hand who wants to talk and we'll unmute you. Amritpreet, I can hear you.
Yeah, hello, this is Dharani.
Yes, Dharani.
That was a great experience for me. Like, this is my first debate. Apart from my network issues, I think I done well, and this was my first experience. Like, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dharani. Yes, I know you. All of the contestants have done really well, and I can see that most of them here are first timers, and it's very nice to see all the first time debaters doing so well. Is there anybody else who would like to tell their experience?
Yeah. This was my first time participating in a debate competition. It was obviously something new, and as the topic was given before the hand, and so the research and all really helped to know new things. And yeah, I missed few points, so yes, I did not like that. So it was, so far as it was fine, but I would like to do better in the next one. Yeah.
Thank you, Amritpreet. And with this, we come to the end of our debate contest for both the topics. I would like to congratulate each and every contestant who stepped out of their comfort zone and took this opportunity of taking a debate, doing it for the first time. So congratulations to all of you. And well, now it's time for the much awaited results. And I would like to call upon our Chief Judge to declare the results for the contest. Chief Judge Toastmaster Saurabh, over to you.
Thank you. So before I declare the results, I would want to share some observations about the contest and the contestants. Hope that's okay. Contest chair. Okay. So the first rule of the debate, which every single contestant flouted, you have to start a debate, proposition or rebuttal, addressing the contest chair. So not one of the contestant has addressed the contest chair while starting a proposition or a rebuttal. So in most formal debate contests, that could be a ground of disqualification even. So you have to always start off with the permission of the contest chair or address the contest chair and hand over the stage back to the contest chair once your point is made. So the contest, so we are all, so look at it this way: the contest chair is making the proposition, and you are debating for and against the proposition. You have been authorized by the contest chair to speak for or against it. So it is very similar to a parliamentary procedure where the speaker puts a motion on the floor and then asks the MPs to debate on the motion. So if you would have noticed, they would always refer to the speaker and say, Madam Speaker, or Speaker Sir, Honorable Speaker, and then they start speaking. So the Honorable Contest Chair is something that you should have, all of you should have started. But I think that's just a teething issue. I think that will go. But apart from this one procedural error, I think the rest of the debate went very smooth, and some very nice points, some very nice delivery. So coming to the first topic, So the first topic, but one thing which I really missed in this entire discussion is rebuttals have to be deadly, ruthless, killing the opposition. The opposition should walk out and then have a strong drink. They should feel that bad after a rebuttal. Should feel like I've totally lost it. I remember when we had this great debate contest, right? This district contest. So my topic was work from home is the future of work. And one of the debaters that we had made is that if you are, so the opponent team had said that it's destroying my work routine and I can't give time to my daughter and whatever, blah, 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 some emotional things. And one of the points that we had made is that if you are bad in time management, you're a bad mother. Don't blame work from home for that. So it goes to that level where it kind of slashes the opponent in such a way that that person can just not stand up without getting personal. So now the question here is that you were very, very gentle in your rebuttals. You were like as if pleading, please, I want to object to it. Please don't mind. I'm going to say a couple of points, which, nothing offense meant here. We are all friends. No, that's not the spirit of debate. Okay. So that's the first thing. Rebuttals has to be ruthless. You have to kill the opposition. When the propositions were being made, you have to look at the topic. It's like table topics. It doesn't matter what the TTM was thinking when he framed the topic. The table topic speaker can speak on the topic as long as it's relevant to the title. The same thing with the debate. And this I'm talking more about the second topic. So the topic was violent game should be banned. Did the topic anywhere mentioned violent video game should be banned? No one brought up this point that games people play with each other, that should also that can also lead to so much of even before video games were there or games were there, how many people would have died by honor killing, due to honor killing? Isn't that also a kind of game that people play? So till the time we have a society which is perfect, where there is no honor killing, where there is no one trying to get anyone's life for anything, there is no point in banning a video game. That kind of an argument never came up from anyone. That are we living in a perfect society? Are we saying that video games is the cause of all the problems? Did people not die due to violence before video games were there? More people die in the if you look at football, for instance. We talked about football. No one brought up this argument that people who play the game on the field, they don't kill each other. The spectators who are watching, who have probably never hit a soccer in their entire life, they are the people who get into racist slurs and racist fights, and they kill each other. So it's not about playing the game. It's about your mentality and it's about your upbringing that gets reflected. So this point was never brought up by the people opposing the motion. People proposing the motion never brought up points like technology has severe limitations. Forget about, and I think there was one slide, if I'm not wrong, Abraham brought this point up, that the effects of video game is not immediate. The violence cannot be seen immediately. It's not like you play PUBG and then you walk out with a gun. He had a very good point that effects comes in over a period of time. And so don't underestimate just because you don't see someone walking out with a gun after playing PUBG. Right? I think that was a beautiful point. So I think some more such points should have come up in terms of why video games should be banned. So both the sides could have brought in more arguments. And since the topic was given to you beforehand, I would have expected more research, more statistics, more facts and figures to be brought into play here. But since most of you are debating for the first time, I think it's an impeccable job that you did. Debating on any topic is very difficult because you have to take a stand and you have to make your position very clear. And you were very articulate, and many of you were dressed for the occasion. You looked very confident. I will particularly call out a few people. I really liked the way you spoke. Nishant, Harsh, Rakshanta, fantastic. I think the delivery was so strong and it was so hard hitting. Sometimes, you can talk a lot of rubbish in a debate, but the way you talk, people will like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I'm totally with her. I'm totally with him. So I think that is something which I'm not saying you did that, guys, but I'm saying that some of your body language and some of your delivery was so strong that it was like I was finding it very difficult to pay heed to the points because I was so captivated by the way you were delivering. So that's a good strategy. So keep doing that. Some of the good points that came up, as I said, Abraham had a very fantastic point. I really liked it. Some of the other points and statistics, also the way Harsh started off reading from a book, saying this country, what is common in this, right? Engaging. Even in a debate, you can have an introduction, body, and conclusion. When you're doing a rebuttal and you're doing a proposition, you can still have that introduction, body, and conclusion. It's not that you have to just keep on giving random facts, but it's not like a series of bullet points in a debate. So these are some of the things, if you keep in mind, it can really go to the next level. I think otherwise, fantastic and great start. So really the scores does not really matter because it is between the friends, and both of you, both the teams have done really well, I would say. You would not believe I was the only person judging, and yet I had a tie in both the teams. So the way I did it is I put it in an Excel sheet, and I was just keeping on computing the scores. I did not purposefully put the sum formula because I did not want to get biased. So I just kept on giving the scores based on as and when you were delivering. And when I put the sum formula, I was stunned. In both the cases, I had a tie. So I had to depend a little bit on the audience questions and your response to the audience questions to break the tie, because I don't have a tiebreaker judge here, right? So that's how I kind of broke the tie. So for the team one, for the topic one, the for team wins the competition with 29 points, and the against team scored 28 points. Okay, so and in terms of if I go into a little bit more specifics, the for team was slightly lower than the against team in the opening, which is the proposition of the motion, a proposition of against the motion. The against team and also there was but they were slightly higher. They kind of made up in the way they rebutted the motion. So that's how it kind of balanced off. So the rebuttal for the for team was stronger than the proposition of the motion, and that is what worked in favor of the for team. So they did a better job in rebuttal. So proposition can be very strong, and proposition has to be very strong. You are like the first person in the relay race, right? So the maximum lead that you take gives the rest of the team that advantage. So keep that in mind. So congratulations, Divya, Krishna, and Lavanya for winning the first debate competition in the first topic. Coming to the second topic, the team which won is the against team. And here, there was a significant lead that was taken by the proposer, which is Rakshanta. So there was a huge lead, but, and I'll tell you, again here, the against team got 35 points. The for team got 34 points. Okay. And where they made up is the rebuttal. The for team had much stronger rebuttals than the against team. So like, as I said, Abraham and Harsh had some very strong points in rebuttal, which kind of almost outdid the initial good start that Rakshanta had taken. So I think the trick is be strong in both the for, both the proposition and the rebuttal, because that is what is more important. And if you're seeing generally does not happen like this, that you have got two rebuttal opportunities and one for opportunity, one proposition opportunities. But if you really get such chances, put your stronger players in the rebuttals, because then you can score more points there. So that's how it should be done. And again, when you're speaking, when you're responding to audience questions also, within your team who is a stronger rebuttal, pick that person as a spokesperson of the team and let that person answer the questions. Okay, any questions you would want to know? Okay, so I will share the parameters now. What were the parameters on which the judgment was done? So for the proposition, the judgment criteria was 25% weightage on each of these 4 points: strength of argument, clarity of thought, logical and factual reasoning, delivery, and language fluency. For the judging criteria for the rebuttals were strength of rebuttals, clarity of thought again, delivery and language fluency again, and new points. During rebuttal also you can add new points. You have to do a rebuttal, but then you can always add a couple of new points to remind the speaker that this is what I said to counter what you said, but then I've got more points for you. So that's it from my side, and let me know if you have any questions regarding this. And by the way, there were 2 appeals. So one appeal was about the primary research statistics that was used by one of the speakers, and it was said that I have got statistics which she used some statistics to support whatever she was saying, the argument, or he was saying to support the argument, but I have also statistics which is against the argument. That will always be the case. If you look up that men are stronger than women, there would be 50 statistics on that, and there would be another 150 statistics which says that women are more stronger than men. So statistics, lies, damn lies, and statistics, we all know that. The trick here is to use the statistics to your advantage. So it really does not matter if you have got a lot of statistics which is against the statistics that the person has said, because the statistics that person has used in that particular context is relevant enough. And there was another appeal saying that there was a contradiction from the speaker within the speaker's team. So the opening speaker, the proposing speaker, and the rebuttal speakers had contradiction. Contradictions are showcase that a team is weak or a speaker is weak, but that is never a ground for disqualification. So disqualification cannot happen because a speaker contradicted himself. And in this case, the appeal was that 2 speakers in the team contradicted each other, which is a sign of bad team management or bad team coordination, but that cannot be a ground for disqualification. So these are the 2 appeals, and I answered both the appeals, but there cannot be an appeal against the appeal decision. So you have to live with it. Okay, so that's it from my side. Over to the contest chair.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Saurav, for the results and for also sharing a lot of information about where we can improve and how to improve. Thank you very much for that. Can we all please unmute ourselves and give a round of applause to our chief just for the day, Toastmaster Saurav? Oh, you cannot, okay. My bad. Thank you, Saurabh. Now it's the time to take a photo. Can I please request everyone, like 4 of them who have not turned on their videos, to turn on their video? And for the people who have turned on their videos, please smile so that we can click a picture. Zoom moderator, please let us know when to say cheese or anything you want us to.
There's someone along with Nishant, or is that a reflection of Nishant?
Harsh. Okay, Dharani, okay, that's fine. Okay. So can we all, I don't think they can unmute themselves. So can we all just pose? All right, one more, a different pose. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Back to contest chair.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Manvi, our Zoom moderator for the day. I would like to thank our timer, Faisal, and Zoom moderator. Huge round of applause to the organizers for organizing this very fantastic debate with a lot of information for us to take back home. And with this, I am signing off your debate master, all the contest chair for the day. Like most of you here in this debate, this was also my first time being the debate master. And well, let me tell you, it was a very insightful 2 hours for me to learn how to be a good debate master, and to also learn from Toastmaster Saurav how to be good at debate. So thank you very much for this opportunity, MVCJ Toastmasters Club, and we'll see at each other at online meetings till we get vaccinated. Thank you and have a lovely evening ahead.
Thank you so much, Sumedha, for doing this for us. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Saurav, for being here today. I think we all had a fabulous time, and thank you so much for sharing those wonderful insights. I'm sure we're going to go a long way after inculcating them. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here. Good night. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye. दोनों हार गए।
अबे मैं अभी भी अनम्यूट नहीं कर सकता बे। कर दिया
हेलो।
क्या कर रही है? ये गांडू में मेरा एक सच में क्या हरामी 1 मिनट खा गया अभी क्या साला अरे बट उसको भी 2 मिनट ही दिया ज्यादा नहीं दिया देख बोल तो ऐसा उसको भी 2 मिनट दे ऐसा नहीं कर पहले शर्ट निकालना